Hey guys, Serp1313 here for my very first episode of Ask Serp. I've gotten a couple questions actually from people, subscribers, which I have 17 of now, which is pretty cool. December 6th today, and 17 subscribers out of a YouTube account I made just so I could keep track of my favorites, so that's not bad. Anyway, today we have, first it was a guy called TestingPointer who wrote and says that he wants to know about the paints I use. And later on, during our discussion, he also asked if it smells when you use an airbrush booth, because he uses spray paint, much like this, to do his kits, or to prime them, or something. He just said he uses spray paint, and it smells. So I'm going to answer those questions first. Firstly, like this. This is the primer I've been using, because I was waiting for my Mr. Surfacer to come in the mail. It should be here soon, this week. But until then I was using this. This is almost empty, and I've done one kit with it. So this is a horrible waste of money to get spray paint cans. Because, you know, I did a 1/100 scale model. I primed it with 2 coats, thin coats, and this is already almost empty. I couldn't even get half a model out of what's left in this can. Waste of money. If you have an airbrush, make sure you get Mr. Surfacer 1000 or 500, whatever one you prefer. 1000 is generally a bit more thin, so it'll go into cracks and scratches and stuff a little bit easier to cover up some mistakes. 500 is a bit thicker, and by thicker I mean the little grains, like pieces of sand almost, that's in primer, are going to be larger, so it won't go into gaps quite as easily as the 1000, but you can use it almost as a paste or a putty to cover up mistakes and then sand it down. So those are the two main types. There's also a 1200 as far as Mr. Surfacer, but I'm not really going to get into that. So this was the primer I was using. I got this at Menards, I think. It's auto plastic primer. This is the only reason I bought it, because it has plastic primer on the label. It's Rust-Oleum brand. It works, but it's overpriced. I think this was $6, and I got one kit out of it. So this does work. It's a good primer, but it's very expensive. For my clear coats, this is what I've used. It's Krylon UV resistant clear. I have this in both a matte finish and a gloss finish. The gloss finish is used over my primary coat of paint, you know, my colors and my priming and everything. And then you can do panel lining over that, and since it's a gloss coat, it's really smooth, so the panel lining will go a lot easier as the oil-based paint goes into the grooves, which I'll explain in a little bit. And I use this matte finish instead of the gloss to go over the outside of the model when I'm all done with decals and panel lining and everything, because then it makes the model, you know, look more flat colored instead of shiny like plastic. It makes it look more like metal or just basic paint, which is what I like. I don't like my models to be very, very shiny like they come out of the box, because what's the point in painting them then? As far as paints that I've been using so far, I've been using, here we go, Createx so far. This is a fluorescent orange. I actually use this to paint my Nintendo DS. I haven't used this on any of my kits yet. But it's a good brand, especially for beginners. It's already thinned, so you don't have to worry about thinning the paint down. All you do is shake it for a minute or two, and you just pour it directly in your airbrush, and you're ready to go. So that's a good point. It's also very cheap. Okay, right now, today, I looked at the sale ad. Starting tomorrow, Monday, since Hobby Lobby is not open on Sunday, if you go to Hobby Lobby, all of their airbrushes, airbrush paint, and airbrush accessories are 30% off. A bottle like this, I think, costs about $3, so 30% off, you're roughly looking about $2.10-ish. So, this is also a 2 full-ounce bottle, 2 fluid ounce, or 60 milliliters. I think it's milliliters. I don't know. I don't live in Europe, so anybody in Europe, if you want to correct me, I'll put like a caption up here that says what's really supposed to be. But it's also water-based, so if you have these for a real long time, or maybe you forget and you leave the cap open or something, and it starts to dry out and thicken up, you just add a little bit of water to get it back to how it should be. Or if you want to put on a real light coat, you can mix it with water and turn down the PSI on your airbrush, and this will still shoot. So, water-based. It cleans up real easy. Just wash your hands, it's all gone. So it's real good for beginners and stuff like that. You can also mix it very well, and there's tons of different colors, tons of varieties. And every month, normally once a month, this stuff's on sale at Hobby Lobby. So, if you're a beginner and you just like to do Gundams in your spare time, or any model kit really, or airbrush in general, you can just use this Createx brand. They also make top coats, you know, like, actually, if you look at this, I doubt you can see it, but it says $2.79, so it's not even $3. So, you know, this is the same as this, but in airbrush form. So, this bottle was $6, this bottle was $2.79, but it was also on sale, so I paid roughly $1.90 for this, or so, and there's probably just as much paint in this as there is in this can, but if you use an airbrush it's much more efficient, so this will last me longer than this can. Alright, let's look at that Createx out of the way. Another kind of paint I use is folk art. I think you can find this kind of stuff at Walmart, actually. This is not airbrush paint, this is just normal acrylic paint that you would use with a brush. The thing about this is you can thin it to shoot through an airbrush. You can use water to thin this. It's water soluble because it's acrylic. And it'll shoot about 1-to-1 ratio, you know, half paint, half water, and you can shoot it through your airbrush. But you must wash your airbrush immediately after using it. This is a gold color. It looks really good when it dries. I use it on V-fins and stuff like that to make them shiny and gold. I think a bottle of this costs about 70 cents. And since you're thinning it with water, think about this as twice as big because you're going to cut it with water. And this is another thing beginners can use. I mean, it's the same size as the Createx, but it costs like 79 to 80 cents. But this was also on sale when I got it, because Hobby Lobby has this stuff on sale sometimes too, and this was half off. So I got this for 35 cents, and it's gold. It's a nice color gold too. I doubt you'll be able to see it, but it's shiny and sparkly like you would think gold should be. So that's that. If you mix it with water, sometimes paints that aren't meant for airbrushing can lose its color, or it won't bond well and it'll just flake off. What you can do is get Flow Improver, and this is an acrylic medium, but it's for airbrushing. So if you go to Hobby Lobby, this is also 30% off. This is a giant bottle of it. It's 250 milliliters, and you mix this with water. So this is actually a very good investment. You mix 1 part this with 20 parts water. So imagine 21 of these, and that's how much real, you know, chemical you're getting. It's the same like width as a spray can, about half the height. So it's huge. And then you mix this with 20 parts water, and I'd say this be around 5 gallons. You know, you can mix this instead of water, and it'll help it keep its color and bond well. So that's that out of the way. For panel lining, I use this Academy brand paint. It's an oil-based, just out of the tube, you know, you'd use canvas to paint with it. This is pretty expensive. This was $6 for this itty-bitty tube. But when you're panel lining, you barely use any at all. This will probably last you, depending on how often you do kits, this could last you your entire life. If you do kits from now until the day you die, like maybe 1 a week or 1 every other week, this might last you your entire life. So this isn't a bad investment. And I mix this with lighter fluid, and that'll thin it down, and you can do panel lining with it. One thing I bought off eBay is this big box of acrylic colors, because I was going to mix this with water and see how well they shoot. Because I got 3 of these big boxes right here, for I think $2 off eBay, plus $1 shipping and handling. And it comes with several different colors. I'm going to try to shoot this, and I'll let you guys know how it goes, but I have no idea when I'm going to try to shoot this, so it might not be for like a year. But alright, these are the paints I use. This video is running long, so I'm going to make another video, part 2 of this, I guess, and I'll answer the other questions.